Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call tonight's public hearing to order. So a public hearing is organized under Section 464 of the Local Government Act. Tonight's public hearing involves the following in regards to a portion of newly created lot on Ridley Island Road described as Block A, District Block 8147, Range 5, Coast District. It's regarding two amendments we're making. It's the Quality of Life Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 3436/2019. The intent of this bylaw is to change from open space designation to business industrial designation as depicted in Schedule A of the bylaw. And 2, Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 3437/2019. The intent of this bylaw is to change from P1 Public Facility Zone to M2 General Industrial Zone as depicted in Schedule A of the bylaw. Every person present who believes that their interest is affected by the proposed bylaws shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaws. None of you will be discouraged or prevented from making your views known. However, it is important to restrict your remarks to matters contained in the proposed bylaw. A person may make their statement in writing as outlined in the public notice, and if received by the deadline, their presentation will be read by staff at the public hearing. If a person wishes to make a presentation at the public hearing, they are welcome to do so, provided that the following criteria are followed. This is necessary in order to allow for the recording of the public hearing process. The chairperson will recognize only those individuals who present themselves at the table and speak into the microphone. Prior to speaking, please provide your full name and be prepared to spell your surname for the corporate administrator. Please also provide your residential or business address. Should you wish to read from a prepared statement, the city would appreciate receiving a copy for reference purposes by the corporate administrator. Members of council may, if they so wish, ask questions of you following your presentation. Please note that this is not a question period at which a debate takes place. City Council will not provide any comments on issues raised, but will be in attendance to listen to the comments presented. Should no additional speakers present themselves, the chair will call 3 times for anyone else who wishes to speak to the matter. And if no one else comes forward, the public hearing will be adjourned. Okay, so first I believe that we'll have a quick report from our city planner. And then I'll be calling folks from the audience.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The reason for this report is obvious. It's for the public hearing, which was scheduled at the March 25th council meeting. The report presented to the council on March 25th, which includes the full application as well as staff analysis, remains current and is included in its entirety in attachment number 1.
Mr. Cricket, your microphone, could you bring it maybe a little bit closer?
Yes.
There we go. Thank you.
I'm going to mind my P's.
Perfect.
And my T's.
I got the thumbs up from our tech guy at the back there.
In brief, Metlakatla Development Corporation is in the process of securing title to the parcel of land which is delineated in yellow, and it's applying to amend quality of life, community plan, and zoning bylaw for the property which is outlined in black. The current quality of life official community plan designation is kind of zebra-like, some for open space and parks and some for business industrial, which is the result of then forecasting that industrial development would be something suitable for this area, and the only areas that were selected to indicate that were those which were fairly easy to develop. The proposal is to designate the entire parcel business industrial. Similar for zoning amendment bylaw. The amendment is from P1 public facility zone, which is entirely zoned in such zone, to M2 general industrial zone. The proposal is to accommodate a storage and transferring facility for rapidly growing transportation of industrial goods and materials. staff conducted an internal referral, and there were no comments that would prevent the proposed amendment. Staff also conducted external referral to Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, and received a sign off on the bylaw, proposed zoning bylaw, which is included in the appropriate section of this agenda. As the date of this report and up to the commencement of this public hearing, city staff did not receive any over-the-counter inquiries or written comments. And in conclusion, Mr. Mayor, the applicant has completed the necessary requirements for the final consideration.
Thank you.
That was my report.
Okay, next is if there's any members of the public who wish to comment on this proposal, they can do so now.
Larry Golden, 1601 2nd Avenue West. I didn't do my homework for this. I forgot I was going to be on. But from previous work, I wondered if did we do a salmon survey type thing. Some of those streams, and I can't remember if that's where it is, have a really low, rare salmon in them. But I didn't do the homework, so I can't tell if that's these streams. The other side is I see just by looking at it, it's fairly steep. So you're probably asking for I'll say avalanches, but the rock body falling when it's messed with. So that's another thing you should be looking for.
Thank you for your comments.
Would you answer the salmon question?
I can't answer that question. Wait, we just received comments at this point. Yeah. Okay, any other comments or? Call for a second time. And a third and final time. Okay, motion to adjourn the public hearing. Moved by Councillor Niche, second by Councillor Cunningham. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. I'd like to call tonight's regular council meeting to order. Recommendation that the regular council meeting be suspended and the committee of the whole meeting be convened. Moved by Councillor 80, seconded by Councillor Randhawa. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. I'd like to call tonight's committee of the whole meeting to order. Recommendation that the agenda for the committee of the whole meeting of April 29th, 2019 be adopted as circulated. Moved by Councillor Randhawa, second by Councillor 80. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. We have a petition tonight from Chris Lightfoot as a delegation, but I don't see him in the audience tonight, actually. Perhaps maybe she went to go check. Then what we'll do then at first, before we have that delegation, is that if there's any members of the public that wish to come speak to council on any matters of their choice, they can come do so now and speak to us, and then we'll do the delegation after if he's downstairs.
Still Larry Golden, 1601 2nd Avenue West. I was hoping that we would be able to view the report that it did on the salaries. What we would do when we had more easy access to it was I'd come up here and just read it with the idea that you have the ability to Xerox some page, So I'm most interested in what places were used for comparison, etc. And then I brought this here too for. I would suggest that we move the meetings back to 7 o'clock instead of starting at 5 o'clock, because this is an old publication, but it's 2013, but it goes through how to do open meetings for a local government. And I would say, because when we went to the mill and all that stuff, we had so many in-camera meetings that we had to go to the 5 o'clock. It's now your schedule to do it, and so it's became so now you have to find a reason to have an in-camera meeting every meeting you have, every council meeting you have. So it's no longer an exception; it's the rule. I'm saying you're probably violating the intent of the legislation. I'm going to try to get people to put more teeth in the legislation, so it's not so ad hoc. Yes, we'll do it this way. The hard part becomes what happens if you have delegation A in the last 20 minutes, and then you sit there for another hour and 15 minutes thinking about other things. And the last time we had a council meeting at 5 o'clock, we all came in and I heard much more council input from all the members of the council than I've heard before. So I suspect you guys have sat around and talked to each other so much before that you no longer have anything to say, and so the meeting just goes snap by, and you don't get the chance to see what the individual councilors, what their opinions are, and how well they've researched it, etc. Okay, thank you.
Just to be clear, closed council meetings are only scheduled if they're necessary. They're not regularly scheduled by default. They're only scheduled, and nothing that's discussed in a closed meeting has anything to do with public meetings. So they're only discussed around the closed items.
Let me
just to clarify for you.
You haven't clarified it in the sense that
I did actually.
Your meetings by bylaw are set to start at 5 o'clock. So it's not the exception; it's the rule.
The public meetings are scheduled at 7 o'clock.
But every day you're going to have and
if it's necessary, we have a closed meeting before that meeting.
Listen,
that's everything about it is literally legitimately scheduled as according to Local Government Act.
You have to start the meeting at 5 o'clock.
Not your opinion, of course.
You have to start the meeting at 5 o'clock. You have to pass a resolution to close the meeting. So that is a public meeting starting at 5 o'clock. You have to pass a motion to close it. You might not do it.
Unfortunately, you're incorrect. Unfortunately, you're just incorrect. So
okay, well,
that's just how it is.
I'll show you the act. Okay.
Yeah, well, read it many times. Thanks. Okay, seeing as we don't have our delegation here, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Cunningham, second by Councillor Niche. All those in favor? As presented, moved by Councillor Niche, second by Councillor Cunningham. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Item 3A, recommendation that the minutes of the special council meeting of April 8th, 2019 be adopted. Moved by Councillor 80, seconded by Councillor Randhawa. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Item 3B, recommendation that the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 8th, 2019 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Moreau, seconded by Councillor Cunningham. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Item 3C, recommendation that the minutes of the special regular council meeting of April 15th, 2019 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Cunningham, second by Councillor Niche. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. And item 3D, recommendation that the minutes of the special regular council meeting of April 18th, 2019 be adopted. Moved by Councillor 80, second by Councillor Moreau. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, first we have a report from our communications manager regarding a grant application for a housing needs assessment.
Sure. So there are some changes coming up to the Local Government Act that we're anticipating in terms of the completion of housing needs assessments by local governments. So in anticipation of that upcoming legislative change, NDIT is offering grants for housing needs assessments. Prince Rupert has actually already done a lot of work on this during planning for major projects in terms of what kind of housing requirements are in the community. And so what we want to use this grant for is to update our existing data set and also make any changes that we might need to in order to actually meet with the new requirements that are anticipated.
Great. Questions from council? So moved by Councillor Moreau that the council approved by resolution the application to NDIT housing needs assessment funding for up to $10,000 or 50% of projected costs. Seconded by Councillor Randhawa. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, next we have our bylaws. So we have the Quality of Life Official Community Plan Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 3436, 2019, and 3437, 2019 for property located on Ridley Island. I don't think we probably need any more report. Is there any discussion from council on this proposal? Okay, so it's moved by Councillor Cunningham that the following public hearing at council's regular meeting give council third to the proposed amendment bylaw 3436, 2019 and 3437, 2019, and that council give the final reading and adopt the proposed zoning amendment bylaw number 3436, 2019 and 3437, 2019, seconded by Councillor Moreau. I got you guys' names all mixed up tonight. Niche, any further discussion?
So the only comment I'd like to make is I think just given the evidence in front of us, this proposal is consistent with the port's long-term land use plan. From our perspective as the municipality, I don't think the original intent of rural residential is ever really going to come to fruition. And also, if you look at the cost of municipal servicing somewhere out there that far away, Southern Can lands actually do make a lot of sense in terms of industrial use, and I think it's very complementary to all of the existing port assets on Southern Can Island.
Any other discussion? Yeah, fully in support of this proposal. Okay, all is in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Next we have a report from our city planner regarding the application to amend the Quality of Life Official Community Plan and the zoning bylaw for property located at 1051 Chamberlain Avenue. Microphone, sorry.
There you go. The reason for this report is that it's going through a process of amendments, and the applicant has completed the information meeting which was required by council at the first reading. This property was subject to amendments to the Quality of Life Official Community Plan and City Zoning Bylaw to permit then vacant motel to convert motel conversion to seniors housing. A condition of that amendment was housing agreement to rent to seniors over 55 years of age exclusively. Since amendments were adopted and housing agreement placed on the title of ownership, the owner determined that their plans is no longer feasible and have placed the property on market for sale. Prior to submitting this application, Mr. Warburton sought council approval to discharge the housing agreement. Council agrees, subject to this process being completed. This process being zoning amendment and Quality of Life Official Community Plan amendment. The Neptune Motor Inn was constructed in the 1970s, provided accommodation through 80s and 90s to construction and shutdown crews on Ridley Island and Watson Island, and as well as accommodation during the busy fishing season and increasing tourism visits. In late 90s and early 2000s, economy and habits of work, business, travel are changed, and some hotels experience high vacancy rates, this being one of them. Mr. Warburton's proposal to revert the building to its original motel restaurant use is clear and convincing on paper, and to his credit, the paper exercise is supported by his experience of running First Avenue Executive Suites. This is basically the layout of the lot. The property will be facelifted, and it has adequate parking for what he's proposing to do. Staff conducted internal and external refers to MOTI, Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure. Neither did not produce any commitments that will provide the proposed amendment. The proposed zoning amendment bylaw number 3439, which includes MOTI sign-off, and Quality of Life amendment bylaw 3438 are included in attachment number 3. the applicant held community information meeting on April 10th at Leicester Center of Arts. In attendance were 14, not counting staff and applicants. All in attendance were supportive of the proposed project. There were no notes taken. For the record, the sign in sheet and photograph proceedings is included in attachment 4. And yes, I'm in a picture, but you're going to have to look for me really hard. It's like searching for Waldo. In conclusion, in a long term, this property is best suited for light industrial use. In a short term, and to avoid better than vacant attribute, allowing it to revert to its original use will suffice. That was my report, Mr. Mayor.
Questions from council? And how would you say the feedback was at the public notification?
It was all positive. There were no comments that were of negative nature.
Yeah. Okay, so the recommendations that council gives second reading to the proposed amendment bylaw number 3438 and 2019 and number 3439 2019, and that council schedule a public hearing for May 13th 2019 at 7 p.m. prior to the regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Niche, second by Councillor Cunningham. Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any reports from council tonight? Councillor Murrow, then Councillor Cunningham.
I just have a procedural question. I'm not sure we've ever had a delegation that was on the agenda not appear, so is it just procedural that we'll reach out to them to get them on the next agenda? Just because that the Communities on the Move declaration, I think, is something that we're definitely... Oh, sorry, Chris. Sorry, just arrived. So from a procedural standpoint, maybe staff can just comment on how we can move forward to reschedule.
We would typically just move to the next cow. However, I think it was a request for a we'd have to go back to the next committee hold. Already closed.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Councillor Cunningham.
Okay, last council meeting I had asked for this cow to have the Airport Society come and give us a report, and also for a schedule for future cows on different societies coming before us, and so far I haven't seen it.
The staff has been working on that and reaching out to the organizations, so not all of them have been able to get back to us right away, but we have been actively working on it.
Yeah, maybe I could just make a couple comments, just for general public consumption. Just let you know that all special council meetings actually start with the appropriate resolution. We follow the act to the letter, and in fact everything that's on the agenda for a special in-camera meeting is actually posted with everything on the agenda. So we've always done that. It's quite transparent and quite capable. In addition to that, the remuneration report is available online from the February the 25th meeting. All the information that was used to determine what the amounts that were done it's all online. So we're extremely transparent when it comes to this information and making sure that we follow the act to the letter.
Other reports from council? Okay, I have a quick one. Councillor Cunningham and I, as well as our city manager, are up to the NCL's GA, the North Central Local Government Act Association annual general meeting in Williams Lake. So we'll be having a variety of meetings there and collaborating with many communities across the North Central area. I'm now on the board of directors as an appointee from the North Coast Regional District, and I've been attending board meetings, and we're working on working more closely with the communities around cross-sectional issues that affect all our municipalities. So we'll be there next week, and hope to provide an update at the next council meeting after that. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Niche, second by Councillor Ady. All those in favor? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.